Okay, so this is your after meeting support session. This is a 90-minute session, and it's going to be presented by the director consultant. Okay, a couple of things are going to come together during this support session. The prep is that the growth coordinator or whoever is playing that role provides a complete summary of the tally sheets. Okay, so does everybody remember the tally sheets? Let's revisit that, shall we? Okay, the tally sheets are posted in lesson plan number 2. Okay, let's have a look at that. I hope you have these documents printed out in front of you, but if not, we'll work our way through this together. Okay, let this load up. And so this is the tally sheet. You can see it's an interactive PDF. That's right, we're high tech here at the Fast 180 Press. We have an interactive PDF. And the idea is that you're compiling the Bragging Buddy groups and you're identifying what's their key situation, what's the name of the individuals, and have they completed the various elements that we've talked about as they work their way through the process, okay? So this is your Bragging Buddy tally sheet. So let me get back to where we were, which was support session lesson 6. So the growth coordinator has completed a summary of those sheets, okay? Here's the key points that we're going to dig into. A lot of things are going to happen here. We're going to review the numbers of bragging buddies from the results of the inventory exercise. Okay, we got that. We're going to review the contact sphere tendency matrix to highlight the power of contact sphere diversity on the power team roster. Okay, let me just slow down for a second and talk about this. One of the real key differentiated value propositions for the Power Team Certified Training System is that we can now structure power teams across contact sphere lines. Okay, we've liberated ourselves from being driven by contact sphere, structured power teams that don't enable different people in the chapter to work together. It becomes exclusionary based on what business you're in, and that's not what we want. And so we really want to celebrate the industrial diversity of these contact spheres as we look at forming power teams from bragging buddy duos. And so just in general plain language here, bottom line is that there's going to be a tendency for bragging buddy duos that are, let's say, in the real estate and finance contact sphere to team up with other bragging buddy duos from the real estate and finance contact sphere. After all, there's some from the same contact sphere. But what I'd like to see happen is for you to at least talk about forming a power team with a bragging buddy duo that might be from another contact sphere. So a wonderful pair for real estate finance, for example, is health and wellness. And there's a lot of reasons why, and I'm not going to get into it now. But I'm just kind of raising the awareness that as we start thinking about combining duos and trios into groups of 4 to 6 as a power team, having a mixed roster is preferable in most cases, okay? All right, bullet point number 3, we're going to do an overview of the mechanics of rolling in 2 or 3 new people into a weekly meeting and one-to-one meetings. So we're going to make that transition from bragging buddy meetings with your initial bragging buddy to now roll some new people in and then pick up momentum with the power team agenda, which is the final bullet point, okay? So this is really the kids growing up here, all right? This is really where people are starting to graduate into some deeper levels of power team activity. So I'll take a quick sip and then dig into the delivery. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the after meeting support session. Let's get organized in our respective contact sphere, and everyone please find your seat with your fellow contact sphere members. Okay, so remember, we've got the laptops spread around the room. Okay, everybody, please open up your workbook to page 23. Let's start watching the webinar. So we're looking at page 23. which is webinar number 12. And the idea here, as a trainer, I want you to understand, everybody on the training call tonight now, look at page 23. And if you aren't aware of this yet, I want you to see at the bottom where it says webinars to watch, and you'll see the note. Webinar number 12 has 6 parts, 1 for each contact sphere. Watch the webinar for your contact sphere and then any others of particular interest to you. Okay? So that's what we're doing here, is based on your own contact sphere, you're watching the webinar and you're watching it with the other people in your contact sphere. Okay? And so that's what we're doing with webinar number 12. Come back to the dialogue after the webinar is over. Isn't that interesting? Now we all know more about the tendency matrix for our own contact sphere and its role to help us give and get more referrals. Any comments or questions? And give a couple minutes if necessary. Okay? So now we're at the bottom of page 1. It would be useful to also now find out more about the tendencies of the other contact spheres, especially those that share the same key situation as ours. So everyone, can you look at the tendency matrix on page 24, okay, page 24, and identify other contact spheres, not the one that you're in, that shares the same key situation as you. Okay. Now we're going to the top of page 2. And then who would like to watch webinars 4? And then we're just going through those different contact spheres. And okay, is there anyone who does not know where to go? So we're going to kind of move people around a little bit. Now they're going to start mixing and matching, going outside their own contact sphere. And here's the note. The above part is to make sure that everyone has a contact sphere webinar to go to, and that the webinars are also spread out across the different contact spheres. If there's too many people waiting to join a particular contact sphere, you can use the script below. So we have a little bit of an optional script here to manage the group, and it says, I think the blank contact sphere is a bit crowded. Would anyone like to move to the blank contact sphere? And then as all of you have your own copies of the DVD, you can catch up later, but let us be comfortable now. Okay, so that's a little crowd management in the dialogue there in the script. And so now we're going to watch webinar 12 on individual laptops. Okay, we'd strongly encourage you to watch the webinar 12 for all the different contact spheres at your own time. This will give you a more thorough understanding of your best key situations and how it relates to the other contact spheres, and could end up generating you more business than you first thought. Now, let's take inventory of the Bragging Buddy groups currently operating here in the chapter and see who's actively building their power teams. So we're going to review that summary that the growth coordinator did of the tally sheet. And the script basically goes now at the bottom of page 2. Looks like we have several Bragging Buddy duos or trios who are built around the same key situation and are already generating referrals with systematic visibility. These groups are prime candidates to advance to the 3rd stage of Power Team development, the Power Team Pioneers. This is a natural formation, and we have a format for integrating the 2 or 3 sets of Bragging Buddies into a Power Team. Okay, top of page 3. This is also a good stage for Bragging Buddy groups who invite individual BNI chapter members from strategically selected business categories to enter into a Bragging Buddy commitment and ramp up their Power Team membership. Okay, so here we go. Let's focus now on the process of bringing together 2 or 3 Bragging Buddy duos or trios to form a Power Team of no more than 4 to 9 people. And I'm hoping that they're not going to be, 3 trios at this point. Okay, that's just like a logical maximum. But hopefully it's going to be 4 or 5, in most cases, maybe 6. Okay, so remember, in addition to meeting in groups of 2 or 3 at least once a week to run the agendas for the boot camp meetings with the new people in the group, okay, does everybody get that? We're going to be doing the Bragging Buddy meetings with the new people, just like we did with the original Bragging Buddies, or the ongoing meeting agenda after that. So these meetings are going to continue, Bragging Buddy meetings at least once a week. That's the expectation. The entire new Power Team will also begin to run an additional meeting with the Power Team agenda. Now, the Power Team itself will decide how often that meeting is going to happen. Could be once a week, twice a month, once a month. Okay, so everybody please open your Power Team Roadmap Workbook to page 26, and let's look at the planning meeting agenda by watching the next webinar. Okay, we're going to review this in more detail, but basically, let me slow down a second and make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. So the expectation is that you're going to be doing at least one Bragging Buddy meeting a week, and you're going to start rotating in the new people with those meetings. Okay, then your new Power Team is going to have the Power Team meetings, and you're going to decide if it's going to be once a week or once a month. With your after meeting support groups, you may do it once a week, which is great if it works out that way. But the group will decide how often they meet, and then we're going to give you the agenda for your planning meeting, for your first one-off meeting where you're going to set a few things straight, make a few rules, and have an action plan as a group. So that's what we're talking about in this paragraph. These are the expectations of what we're doing, and then you'll play webinar 13. So are we clear about the agenda? Any questions? And now we're going to get into Power Team formation. Together with your mentor coordinator and growth coordinator, we're going to match up the Bragging Buddy duos and trios into Power Team groups of 4 to 6, and then the director simply follows the pairings from the membership coordinator and growth coordinator. These are Bragging Buddies who have begun implementing systematic visibility and have created at least one referral. So this work has already been done. We've identified who the potential Power Teams could be. And then at the chapter level, there will be some mechanics where the different people involved will make sure that these are good pairings, and then we'll announce the names of the people on the Power Team as well as their number one key situation. Okay, and then to wrap this up on the bottom of page 3, any individuals who've completed the boot camp orientation on your own but haven't yet joined with a Bragging Buddy, now's a good time to seek out one of the newly formed Power Teams and ask to be included. Okay, so I always get questions about, well, what happens with people who just joined the chapter, or they missed a few weeks, or they just decided to get started, or whatever it is. This is a good time to bring them into the mix because there's a lot of new Bragging Buddy meetings, a lot of new orientations going on, and it's a logical place to make that happen. So you ask, does this make sense? And answer any questions. Okay, here's your action step. Now that everybody knows which groups are forming and are joining forces as a Power Team, the new Power Teams need to quickly get together to schedule their planning meeting. Okay, this is that one-off planning meeting we talked about. Can we all move into our Power Team groups and start discussing on the Power Team meeting agenda? Also, remember to schedule in your next planning meeting if you can't finish your discussions today. Any questions? Great, you've got 20 minutes, okay? So what are they doing? They're looking at the planning meeting agenda, and they're actually working their way through that agenda, okay? And you can see that agenda on page 26. Just very simple 3-item planning meeting agenda. They're going to select a leader, how often are they going to meet, and select new Bragging Buddies, to start their boot camp meetings. Very simple. And so here's the note. There will be some stragglers who may not have a Bragging Buddy. You'll need to review their Bragging Buddy tally sheet, and chances are that they've hardly completed the exercise. They'll have 2 options to catch up. The first is to tag onto an existing Bragging Buddy pair, provided that the pair wants to include them. And the second is to pair with a fellow straggler. Encourage them to complete the exercise by the next meeting and tell them that they will be totally left behind if they don't, as the rest of the chapter will be moving forward. Okay, so this is what we call fear of loss, right? That they're going to get left behind if they don't start moving forward. And then you may need to rope in the assistance of one of the Power Team certified coordinators from the chapter to assist them. Okay, so many of you have, been following me in this adventure, through the trip through Southeast Asia there where we did the Power Team presentations, and I was so very proud of my flock of geese V formation PowerPoint animation where they kind of flew onto the screen, and I those of you I'm sure may remember part of that. And then you remember that random bird flying alone, out of formation, kind of lost. this is where some of your people may be, okay? And so we want to bring them into the V formation here. So that's what we're saying, okay? And then we'll wrap it up by saying preview of the following weeks. The director's saying, I'll be back in 4 weeks to shift the focus from the power team themselves to the chapter members who are not actively participating on the power team, but have products and services that are relevant to each of the power team target prospects. Now, isn't this the question that we were asked specifically just a few minutes ago? Okay, that's really what we want, is we want the power team to create referrals for everybody in the chapter. It's better for the chapter and it's better for the power team. So that's what we're saying here. And then back to the dialogue. Now the power teams will be expanding their systematic visibility initiatives to more actively promote everyone with relevant products or services. In other words, up to this point, we've been focusing on generating referrals for our bragging buddies and now the power team pioneers. But when I come back in 4 weeks, the power team pioneers are going to be rocking and rolling to the point where we can start promoting everybody in the chapter with relevant products or services. Okay, so back to the script to finish up. Like I said, I'll be back in 4 weeks. In the meantime, keep up the good work, you guys. Keep your eyes and ears open for the 6 key situations. I want you to ask trigger questions, and I want you to give compelling bragging buddy testimonials. Okay, diligently implement at least one level of systematic visibility, and I guarantee you that the referrals will take care of themselves. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon. See you in 4 weeks. Okay? So I tend to get excited about this material because I know that it works. And at this point, we've got a good group of people who have completed, the orientation stages, they're bragging buddies, and they are ready to really start creating referrals, not just for each other, but actually for the whole chapter. Now we're talking about increasing the visitor conversion ratios, building the groups, and really achieving the objectives where we want to have, I think the goal is, it may vary region to region, but optimally we want your chapters to have 36 members, 40 members, right?